Welcome back to Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. We got a little round table today. Going to talk about mental health, relationships, all kind of things that's going on. So first, want to welcome Ickeche Ojore. Ojore. Excuse me, sir. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Access Houston. Also welcome the lovely Stephanie Davis.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Mr. Ernest L Beason II. What's going on, man? Put that mic up a little closer, man.
Yeah, okay, I'm putting the mic up a little closer.
Yeah, so we're about to have this conversation. So welcome to Access Houston. You all are having a panel. It's called the E.P.I.C panels on the patio.
Yes, sir.
And you'll be discussing relationships and mental health for children. Very important topic, very timely topics, because I feel as if within at least the last 2 years, us as Black people have been, woke.
Yes.
And mental health has been one of the things that we have finally breaking down and, come to the realization that, we messed up.
Right.
And it is because we don't seek out the mental health because of the stigma that was tied along to going to see a therapist and all that came with that. So I'm glad that we have came to this point in the culture.
Definitely.
So let's talk about the importance of mental health.
Right. So on September 15th, I'm going to be hosting the E.P.I.C panel. So we have September 1st, which will be relationships. September 15th will be children's mental health. The importance for me, because working with kids, that's the lane that I operate out of. And I realize a lot of the behaviors that are believed to be behaviors are simply just kids who are struggling with different forms of mental health, and they end up with things that undiagnosed. And so one of the things, and I talked to Stephanie, who's very passionate about it, and so she is the Dalai Lama of therapists. I'm just kidding, but she has a very great understanding of it. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to do the panel is from conversations with her.
How did those conversations start? What did they entail, Stephanie?
Well, I am the owner of Hard Work Trending Counseling and Consulting, and I specialize in working with teens and adolescents. And with suicide ranking the second leading cause of death, a lot of the things that I deal with are trauma and crisis. And so specifically in the African-American community with us, like you were saying, there's a stigma associated with it, or there's this belief that kids, they don't have nerves, or they're not dealing with things like go outside and play, or, just pray about it, take a nap, you'll be okay. But times are changing and kids are really
they tell adults that.
Well, yeah. And so kids are dealing with adult situations and not having the coping strategies or the guidance to be able to navigate through the world that we live in. And so that's pretty much what I do as a therapist, and then in the community, just getting out and making people aware of it, making them comfortable with talking about the uncomfortable.
No doubt. And EKG, your part?
As a former educator myself, I strongly understand the need for mental health education. A lot of people just don't understand that, for one, if you call a child bad 1,000 times, they're probably going to become bad. And then that stigma of their life, that misunderstanding that they need some counseling, they need some help to understand, hey, as a person, I'm not what everybody has told me I am 1,000 times. I talk to children all the time, and just to let them know, like, hey, if you're yourself, don't let anybody persuade you in being anything else other than yourself. It's like he said, it's an epidemic. Of crisis proportion, where people are trying to figure out themselves on the spot every day, daily, trying to figure out who they are. It's an issue.
What was it that made you all come to the realization that it's a problem? Did something happen to you personally, or did you all see something where you was like, okay, I've seen this one way too many times. Clearly, there's something that is a common denominator as to why I keep running into the same situation. Yes, Stephanie?
I deal with crisis on a regular basis with being a therapist. So a lot of we're like the emergency room. And so I want to change that mindset to where we're preventative care. Just like you go get a dental checkup or just like you go get your medical health checkup. I think that there should be checkups with our kids as well. And I think the teen gap, that's the forgotten about age, because you're old enough to know better, but at the same time, you're still in the developmental stages. And so if you don't have that guidance, and your view of a therapist is what you see on TV, True. And you just sit on a couch. But it's awesome when you can see African Americans that look, we have tattoos and stuff, that look like you're more open to at least having a conversation. And so I would recommend that if you can, at least see a therapist once in your life, just so that you can get the experience. Because a lot of people have never experienced it. Yeah, and there's a fear, like going to the doctor. If you've never been to the dentist before, that's your fear. When you finally go, it's like, okay, maybe it's not that bad. But just letting you know that we are here.
Right. And for me, February 23rd, 1983, at 4 years old, my dad was stabbed and killed. So I lost my dad at a very early age. And I didn't understand what PTSD was until I got old enough to understand what PTSD was. And by then I felt like if I would have gotten help earlier, if it was much more of a thing earlier, I would have been better off. I turned out okay. But as far as getting kids that immediate help, so I'm sensitive to the kid that is suffering or that is depressed or that has lost a parent. I know how to tap into that. And so I always recommend to parents, if I see that that child has lost their father or anyone close to them, to get them help, because if they don't understand the loss, then they'll walk around waiting for them to come back. Because I had a whole lot of issues, and it traumatized me because I was always looking for my dad. Like, when is he coming back? And he was never coming back. And because I couldn't process what death was at that early of an age, it became a thing where I just grew up with a whole lot of issues, low self-esteem, a lot of insecurities, not feeling like I was worth anything, because your identity is typically found in the male figure in your life, and I didn't have him. And so there I am. So what I try to be in the school system, in any school that I go to, if I'm going to do a workshop, if I'm going to do anything, I try to be present to let them know that I do understand by being transparent with my life, so they can know, hey, I'm here, I understand, and I'm ready to talk if you are.
No doubt. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to some of the panelists who will be on the E.P.I.C panels on the Patio, which is happening September 1st and 15th.
September 1st. So September 1st will be the relationship panel. He'll be one of the features for the relationship panel. And September 15th, she'll be the feature for the children's mental health. Yes.
Okay, so well, let's talk relationships.
Yes,
let's talk.
Ickeche here.
Go ahead.
Communication seems to be the biggest problems in relationships.
Definitely.
Dating in 2018 are just, I don't even know if that's a thing, because a lot of times now things are so gray and people are in these situationships.
Yes.
Where it's like, we're doing all of, we have all the benefits of the relationship, and we're doing all of the elements of a relationship and being monogamous, but we're not in a monogamous relationship.
Right.
It's crazy.
You're right. It's crazy. But what I figured out is that the word crazy means that I don't understand. So we turn to situationships because I don't understand this person in front of me. And we turn to becoming conversationalists because we don't understand how to have a conversation. So I had a conversation with a group of women in LA a couple months ago, and the topic that I spoke on was expectations without communication. How we expect things from each other, but we don't communicate them. As a man, I expect a woman to do X, Y, and Z, but I never say, why can't you do this? And women expect me to do X, Y, and Z, but have they ever expressed that? So it's to open the conversation. It's to open the door to the conversation. On Facebook, I often ask questions. What was your worst date? And why was your worst date this? Because I want to know what it is that I can change personally in my single dating life. That would maybe not even change. Maybe what am I doing wrong that I need to change in order to become the man for this woman that I will end up with? Not end up with, that sounds bad, don't it?
End up
that I'm looking for, that I will marry, that I will. But yeah, so it's starting the conversations. It's it's putting those cogs together to understand, to put in the work to understand how we can open the door to this great relationship. The relationship that we envisioned ourselves being in, and that our grandparents were in, and our great grandparents. Those long lasting.
Yeah, you said something. I mean, when you first started, that just immediately got me. Was that it's crazy? Crazy means that you don't understand, and that means that I don't understand the person in front of me. Right. And I was just like, he's absolutely right, and it made me think of Stevie J and Faith Evans. And I'm gonna bring it all around because
please.
People, when the word came out on social media that they got married, like people was like, oh, what is this? Mess. Faith, you're crazy. He's gonna do this. Like, don't you know? You see what type of man that he is. Boom, boom, boom. But they've been friends for like over
Forever.
25 years.
Forever.
You know what I'm saying? And through that friendship, and then a couple of summers ago, I do know, because I've seen it for myself, that they were together, or at least enjoying each other.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? They were smashing it at least. And so when they got married and people was going in on them, and now that I see them more, I'm like, wow, I can see the genuine true love. And it made me go back to the saying, or it made me think of the saying, how friends make the best lovers.
Definitely.
And that's how I was bringing it all around, because here these two are, been friends for over 25 years. And now, they've got to a point in their lives where they know each other, they accept each other's flaws, or, whatever it is.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Right.
And
And
they
so
are genuinely happy.
And so for me, wanting to do this was so the panel that I have on there is very diverse. I have a married couple, have two singles, and there'll be a married couple facilitating. They'll be moderating the panel. And I also have a gentleman who wrote a book, a good friend of mine. He wrote a book called What is Love? His name is B.J. Benjamin O'Neill. He wrote a book called What is Love? And basically within the book, he's describing love from the biblical standpoint, and he's breaking down some of the misunderstandings of love. And it's a very, very great, he has very good insight on it.
I need to buy that book.
And so, man, definitely.
That is my signature question.
Listen.
For those listening, I also host a Quiet Storm on our sister station, Magic 102.1 at night. And when I interview celebrities, you know how every journalist or interviewer has that signature question.
Yeah.
What is love is mine.
And he's tapped into it. He's tapped into it from a very profound perspective, like literally has broken it down to the everything. And so for me, I was motivated because he helped me in a recent situationship that I was in, that I'm out of currently, and that's what prompted me to want to have the relationship panel, and then bring on people like Ickeche who have a deep understanding of what it means and a true heart for it, because you don't write a book like that on just by happenstance. You write that because that's a desire. And so everybody there have a couple that has a podcast called The Marital Mission in Dallas, and so they're coming down for the event as well. And Carnisha Joy Carroll, who has a movement called Valuable and Vibrant. And so everybody on the panel has a very profound perspective on love. And so yes, definitely.
Yes, definitely. This is something that you want to be at. Epic panels on the patio.
Yes, sir.
Where can people get more information?
Man, they can go follow
or get whatever.
They can actually go to my website, which is ErnestLBeason.com, or look on social media. Same thing, Ernest L Beason. I'll be on social media. The event is actually at the Library Coffee and Winehouse on 2612 Scott. So it'll be there at that event, and we'll be there at the same time at noon. Okay. The doors are open at 11:30. They'll be shopping. You'll be able to sip and shop because they have coffee, they have wine, and they have a whole lot of different things that you can take advantage of as in the venue, eating and all of that. And so we'll have vendors there. You'll be able to shop. You'll be able to hang out, and then 12 o'clock we start the panel.
Okay.
And we'll go from there, man.
We'll go from there. Okay. And Ickeche, you have you got some things going on?
I do. I'm actually on a book tour right now. The name of my book is To My Future, # Woman Crush Wednesday, WCW. You can find me on social media at Ickeche Ojore. It's spelled Ickeche Ojore. That's Facebook, Instagram, and what's the other thing? The bird
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. But and my book is literally just a book of letters that I wrote to whomever I end up with. So it's just sincere, heartfelt messages. And I wrote it kind of out of frustration because of these situations that we're talking about. Out of a relationship, and I was upset. And I wasn't upset at her. I was upset at the situation not working. And I wanted to voice how I wasn't able to speak in the relationship, and how I felt that men aren't able to converse with their person in relationships. So I wrote it and put it out about a month ago, and I'm on it.
It sounds incredibly dope.
Thank
really.
you. Yeah.
Just to my future Woman Crush Wednesday, the J. Cole song "Photograph" just popped in my head.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been to about 5 cities already. I'm headed to New Orleans tomorrow, and in Seattle this weekend to promote Atlanta next month, and I'm just trying to introduce people to, honestly, the heart of men more than anything. Women all their lives have wanted to understand men more, and it's not that we don't have a voice. We just have been kind of quieted, since we were children. Most of us have been told to.
Well, I think it's confusing in how society opposes and how they treat us, because
Definitely.
I mean we're taught, something happens, oh, don't cry.
Don't
Be
cry.
a man.
Exactly.
Be a man about it. But
That's exactly.
Man up.
That's
and then when
exactly
you
it.
get into a relationship, the
It's
female is like, oh, well,
talk
you
to
don't
me.
open up. Yeah,
Right.
you know what I
And
mean?
then you got to go
And
see
we
the
sit on
therapist.
and we're sitting there like, how?
Right.
How do
We're
I do
told
this?
this. So it's
Right.
like, which one is it? Like, what are you?
I can't give you what I don't know how to do. But the crazy part is that we know how, but society, Ernest, since he was in high school, has been beating up people because, not really.
Yeah.
But,
Not literally.
I don't love. I'm a poet.
It's like,
love and not a fighter.
caking, for instance. It's
Yes,
like
I'm a cake.
you see a dude caking, you like, oh man, you over there cake. We down feelings, whereas women speak feelings, and we don't necessarily speak feelings.
Because if we do, we're turn soft and all of that. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Okay, and we've had that discussion too. I actually grew up with brothers, and so my brothers kind of raised me as far as relationships, and that's kind of a segue into my book. But I was taught not to be as verbal with my emotions because my brothers, older brothers, I grew up with men, and so a lot of my verbalizing came into writing poetry because I didn't have a lot of people to talk to. My mom worked, and so if I was telling my brothers about a relationship, it's just, y'all are problem solvers. And so I ended up having that mindset growing up. So I would date guys that are like, well, you don't really talk about your emotions. And I'm like, I'm good, because I was taught to just get over it,
Right.
problem solve.
I'm good.
On to
I'm
the
good.
next, And so I think we as women are taught that as well. Just that strong Black woman, but that's not really who we want to be,
Right.
Right.
And so that's why I ended up writing my book, Unmask the Journeys and its Lessons, which talks about the different things that I went through, but it's written in poetic form because I'm a poet, and it was kind of in a cryptic way, kind of slightly keeping your mask on, and then you can interpret it as you want to. It's not full-fledged, but you can kind of read between the lines. So it talks about dealing with abusive relationships, all the things I went to therapy for in my personal life, grief, being a single mom, and then overcoming those obstacles. And so I wrote my book, Unmask the Journeys and its Lessons, to really teach people to use poetry as an outlet, or any creative art as an outlet, because sometimes we disregard that. But I actually use it in therapy, and then also to teach people that it's okay to be who you are, and that idea of self-discovery, because we've kind of built up this person that society tells us we should be. And that's where a lot of mental illnesses come from, because we struggle with internal and external conflicts to where we're trying to be what the box that someone has put us in, or how people really see us, but we struggle with who we are really inside.
Yeah.
So we don't come to grips with it.
Yeah, that is true because humans are complex beings.
Definitely.
Right.
Indeed.
Definitely.
Oh man, this is going to be a dope thing that you got going on.
Man,
I mean,
listen,
really.
and in conversations with them, man, when the panelists were carefully selected based on conversations that I had with them and things that I know about them, because I didn't want anybody on there. I didn't want, oh boy, that just been dating a lot. That's get out there and be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I can tell you about the game, baby. I didn't want any of that. I wanted, and so because my platform, encouraging people, inspiring change, is a motivational and transformational platform that's used in many ways. We do panels, we do epic panels on the patio. We do writing workshops in schools. We go around to talk to businesses about if they're, like, for example, your business is getting ready to go out of business and the people within the business may be feeling down. We go in there and we encourage them. Just do different things to let them know that we are there. Because one of the things for me as a motivational speaker and a poet, that's the vein that I come from. Typically, because I know that every time I talk to someone, the epic piece just came just by happenstance, just because I realized I was actually walking in that, encouraging people, inspiring change. And so it's not like when I say I am epic and I use that hashtag I am epic, I'm not bragging. That's
not saying that
right.
I'm epic, but it's an acronym.
Yes,
encouraging people, inspiring change.
Yes, sir.
I love it. So don't miss the epic panels on the patio, relationships and mental health for children. It's a two-parter. One is September the 1st and the other is September the 15th. It's all happening at the Library Coffee and Winehouse on Scott Street. That's 2612 Scott Street. And Stephanie and Ickeche, they can get you all's books on...
Go ahead.
The name of my website is called, the counseling practice is Heartwork Trending, Counseling and Consulting. And then the website is www.heartworktrending.net.
Okay.
My website is Ickeche Ojore. It's spelled IOJORE, imagery, IMAGERY.com. You can find my book there. It's on Amazon and very soon on iBooks. So yes.
No doubt. Ickeche Ojore, Stephanie Davis, and Ernest Beason II. Thank you all for coming on the program. Looking forward to this panel. It's going to be dope.
Yes, man. I'm excited about it, man.
Thanks. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
And thank you for listening to Access Houston.